World War III is a hot game right now. Despite not having been released in any capacity whatsoever, many PC gamers are seeing it as a competitor or even a replacement to Battlefield 5, which clearly isn't taking the direction that every gamer wants. World War III offers that modern combat setting that I think a lot of players are craving now after a few years of historic shooters from big franchises like Battlefield and Call of Duty. Today, we're going to go over some of the customization points within the game, including weapons, vehicles, and soldiers as well, so you can get an idea for what sort of control you're going to be having once the game reaches early access. Most of these references are taken from various videos that the team has released over the last 2 weeks or so, and obviously it only reflects a work-in-progress product, and it only gives us examples of 1 or 2 different weapons and vehicles. So it's best that you take all of this with a pinch of salt, because customization really could change quite drastically between different weapons and vehicles, but the options they have implemented so far are quite extensive and appear to find a middle ground between what Battlefield 4 offered back in 2013 now when the game launched, and more recently, Escape from Tarkov, that went a bit overboard with the amount of weapon customization that it offered. First of all then, let's start with vehicles, because this is the clearest indication I've been able to find for the game so far. This comes from a teaser video posted by the dev team a couple of weeks or so ago, where they're running a playtest of World War III, and the camera lingers on this screen for just a few seconds, and that gives us plenty of time to check out some of the customization coming to the tanks in this game. The top 2 left words are hard to make out, but the second one definitely says camo. This will likely reskin your entire vehicle with a different look. Now, I'm hoping we see some more muted options here, perhaps even camos that are used by different nations around the world on their armour, but giving the player ultimate control of what they want their tank to look like, I think is really the best option. Based on the information released that this game will be supported by cosmetic microtransactions, my guess is that camos will fall under that category, and alongside some basic options, there will be more paid options for players further down the line. Moving down the list, we're on to weapon systems and gadgets now. These are more physical customizations, and first of all we have the main turret. Here is a fully oscillating one, but it's hard to make out what particular gun it actually is. The fact it's an option, however, will likely mean that we can swap out different turrets and equip different options for different scenarios, although it remains to be seen if this is something that we can do on the fly during a live match, or if we have to build different tank loadouts that can then be picked from in live matches. The developers haven't really clarified that yet. Next up, we have RCWS turrets. These are remote-controlled weapon systems, and almost take up a secondary weapon position for the tank. If we look to other games that use this system, there's usually a choice between light and heavy machine gun turrets in this position. Moving further down, we have chassis armor. This is visible on the tank model as well, you can see that over there, and you can just make out the words RPG Net in the description under chassis armor. This again will likely allow players to choose different armor depending on the situation and the weapons that they're coming up against, and I found another example here in this screenshot. Looks like there's a plow on the front of this tank. That looks really cool. That's another option you're likely going to be able to pick. Then we have active armor, which, as the name suggests, is armor that reacts to incoming explosive projectiles in some way. Explosive reactive armor and non-explosive reactive armor falls under this category as well, but the equipment shown in the list here appears to be a device that will intercept an incoming explosive before it makes contact, and then I assume it will go onto a cooldown, and that denies the enemy any damage against you, and you the chance to get out of danger. As for other types of active armor at the moment, we don't really know what's coming. Grenades are listed as well, with a standard smoke grenade equipped. This will likely produce a smoke cloud around the tank, giving it some soft cover to use to make an escape. And lastly, we have the engine, which is not something I was expecting to see, if I'm honest. Taking a guess, I'd imagine swapping out the default engine for other ones will likely give it a movement speed increase, allowing players who've invested time into the tanks and got their way through the progression system to take advantage of some better better equipment and outmaneuver other vehicles and maybe even infantry as well. Now, something else you can see on the screen here is a button activating a split animation, showing all of the different items equipped on the vehicle to see how it differs from the base. There's a better animation here in this video that shows all of the parts pulling out and then them going back in again, and we get to see a camo being applied to the vehicle as well, which looks quite vibrant, and it's vibrant enough to be something that you'd want to apply to your vehicle, but not so bright that it would break gameplay immersion. The team's done quite a good job there. I hope we don't see pink tanks rolling around the streets of Moscow and Berlin, but this game will be supported by microtransactions, so I expect some slightly more outlandish camos in there that might be sort of something that you want to buy, and I guess the development team need to do that if they want to continue development of the game, but so far the camos don't look too outlandish. Moving on now from vehicle customization, we're going to look at the weapons in this game. This is a topic the development team has already touched on briefly in their website FAQ and a few mentions on social media as well, but their recent video posts do offer a little bit more insight into what can be done with the weapons to make them look unique and perform differently. So in this image here, similar to the one I showed you about the tanks, we can see a split out breakdown of all the physical points of customization for different weapon parts. If you count the dots on the screen, you'll find 12 different customization points on this weapon. But as I mentioned earlier, depending on the weapon in question, there may be more or less points that you can customize. So for example, a pistol is likely to have a lot less to customize than a fully fledged assault rifle like we've got right here. On the left-hand side of the screen there, you can see again the mention of camo, and recently the team released another video showcasing some of those weapon camos that you can expect to see in World War III. Some are more vibrant and colourful than others, but what interests me the most is the points on the weapon that get changed with certain camos. Some just change the body, others change the pins and smaller items on the gun. It appears the team has put some good thought into what players might actually want their guns to look like, and considering this is a first-person shooter, and 95% of the time you're going to be running around with a weapon in your hands, this kind of visual customization, I think, is what's going to be most popular with players when it comes to microtransactions. And another small point, I wanted to pop this up for you. You can see there during the breakout that the Russian flag is its own separate customization point, and it looks like a little patch for your gun of some sort. And it seems similar to Rainbow Six's charms, and that is indeed something that can be chosen and customized by the player. It adds another layer to the visual customization here. Now, officially, the World War III development team has confirmed the following weapon parts to be customizable, although this doesn't appear to be the full list: silencers and barrels, stocks, sights, magazines, grips, laser modules, flashlights, camos and paints, and of course emblems as well. But based on some of the images we have been looking at, there does appear to be more that we can change, we don't really know what those are yet. And lastly for today, a very brief look at soldier customization. This quick video shows the Polish Grom soldier in different sets of clothing, following a very similar silhouette setup. Whether we're going to be able to pick different clothing separate from the camo that they're showing off here remains to be seen, but with the modular setups that we've seen for weapons and vehicles so far in World War III, it wouldn't surprise me if that were the case. Not a huge amount more information is available at the moment, but should more be released, I'll make another video and show that all off for you. Now, World War III is going to be playable at Gamescom in August this year, so if you are attending Gamescom, make sure you find their stand and try and give the game a go. As for capturing gameplay, I'm not 100% sure yet, but I am going to Gamescom, and I'm going to try and make contact with the developers and see if there is an opportunity to capture some gameplay. That would be absolutely awesome if I could bring some back and showcase it here on my channel so that you guys could get a much better idea for what this game really feels like to play, or at least looks like, so that you can get an understanding. But nothing's confirmed yet. It is confirmed playable at Gamescom, but not capturable, so maybe if I speak to the developers I might be able to capture some, although nothing's really confirmed so far. So, that covers just about everything we know so far about the customization that will be included in World War III. And again, at this point, I do want to reiterate, this is an in-development game. It will be coming to early access soon, and therefore, all of this information should be taken with a pinch of salt. Games that launch into early access have often in the past not delivered on their promises, and it's always sensible to be aware that could happen with any current game as well. But make sure you let me know what you think of World War III down below in the comments section with this customization news. Is this a game you'll be getting, or will you be giving it a miss? But thank you very much for watching today, and until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.